Check 1, 2, check. Nerdwriter in a recent video talked about the mundaneness of modern journalism, particularly investigative work, how it can be slow and tedious and not very entertaining to watch or to even practice. Indeed, that's true. Now, granted, his video was paid for by a movie studio to promote a movie about investigative reporting, but the mundaneness of journalism, as much as it can be true in investigative reporting that can take months or even years and has a long-term payoff, a elliptokurtic curve, to use a statistical term that means a fat-tailed distribution. As much as investigative journalism can be mundane, there is another type of journalism, or mundaneness to journalism, that is much less often talked about. And I think it's much less often talked about precisely because it's so mundane and not very prestigious, but is the bulk of modern journalism as I see it. I'd like to illustrate that with a story. I was once assigned to report on a woman who makes cremation jewelry. That's correct. She takes people's ashes, human ashes, pet ashes, any kind of ashes you want, I guess, no questions asked, and she smelts it down into little stones or diamonds or jewelry and ships it back to their owner. So you can always wear your little dog Fifi or your Uncle Bob close to your chest or right on your wrist if you're feeling rebellious. And this is what she did. And I was assigned to go report the story. So my colleague and I, we fly down to northern Florida, we get into an Uber, and we roll up straight into her house, knock on the front door. Hello, yes, here to talk to you about your cremation jewelry business. Oh, come right in. We sat right there in her living room and talked to her for an hour and a half, filmed a little video, wrote a little article, and that was that. Now, was this important in how we define the conversation or impact on our culture or our society? No. Was it entertaining? Perhaps to a small niche audience. But it was a feel-good piece, a fluffy piece. It was a brand-friendly piece. And brand-friendly pieces do most of the heavy lifting when it comes to selling advertisements. Because advertisers want to be on brand-friendly content. And let's be honest, there's only really two ways of monetizing news media: subscriptions and advertising, and nobody's paying for subscriptions, including myself. So advertising it is. This small female entrepreneur, small in terms of small amount of business, you're a normal-sized woman, but a small business entrepreneur woman does something novel, creative. She's a lovely woman, I want to stress that, but the story itself wasn't profound, didn't make waves, start conversations within the political or economic spheres of our cultural or economic software. Why do I tell you this story? What is the relevance of this story? Is that the reality of journalism is not the Spotlight Group in Boston working tirelessly for years to unveil a large ring of Catholic priests up to no good. I would say some other words, but it'll immediately get me demonetized. No, that is the rare, mundane, tedious work of journalism. The more common and prolific form of mundane journalism are these types of fluff stories, and it is a unavoidable fact of journalism if you want to be a reporter employed by a media company. If you want to be a freelance reporter or freelance writer, you will have much more autonomy in choosing your story, much less autonomy in receiving paychecks in any regular interval. But this type of everyday, mundane journalism is really common. I've done it. I have many stories like this. But I don't think many people talk about it precisely because it's so mundane, so unprestigious, and whenever somebody asks you, what's the story you're working on, you never want to say, well, I interviewed somebody who wrangles alligators. Well, actually, to tell you the truth, they're not an alligator wrangler. They don't like that term. So you got to go by alligator trainer now. And the reason why I know this personally is because I have reported on a story about alligator trainers, wranglers. But this is the most common type of mundane journalism, and it's prolific, and throughout any media company, from the New York Times to Bloomberg to BuzzFeed to Vice to Axios, whatever, CNN, doesn't matter. Most of the reporting done is this type of reporting. And so don't worry if you feel like you're being assigned silly stories starting out as an intern or a fellow, or even if you're a journalism student at your university, and you're like, man, I'm doing a story on the benefits of washing your hands during cold and flu season. Ugh, this is tedious and mundane. I don't want to tell anybody I'm working on this story. Fear not. You're not the prodigal son. You're not the prodigal daughter that has been assigned the rubbish stories. These stories are assigned at any level, regardless of salary. Even people quite high paid do these kinds of stories all the time. And this is the real mundane slog of journalism that most reporters don't talk about because it's not very prestigious. But hopefully by talking about it a little bit, it can make you feel a little bit better, maybe comfort you if you're going into journalism, if you just started journalism and you're thinking, what the heck? This is not like the movies at all. Indeed it is not. But nor is being a doctor like the movies or being a lawyer. Like everything else, a movie, particularly a movie that's then paying YouTubers to glorify the investigative work of reporters, is inevitably going to be romanticized and never quite live up to the realities of a career. Anyway, if you found this insightful or honest or sincere or comforting, leave a like, leave a comment down below. Whatever your experience been with journalism or journalists. Does this encourage you to continue in journalism? Does this make you not want to do journalism when you're getting sent to talk to old ladies that make cremation stones and interviewing alligator trainers? And, well, one time I did scuba dive in the coral reef. That was a heck of a story. But that's for another day. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.